can see y'all.
Okay, good.
Perfect. Y'all doing all right today?
Yeah, we're doing good.
Yes.
How about you?
Doing good. Doing good. Let me turn up my volume, make sure I can hear y'all. Today we're going to be talking about elderberries today, guys. It's something I don't grow, which is a lot of the reason why we're going to be talking about elderberries. And I've had quite a few people ask about it. And today I just wanted to bring in the professionals. And so like this video as much as you can to get this thing out there. If you can, give us as many likes because it'll get it out there to a bunch of people. If you got any questions, make sure you ask in the comments. Ben, Corey, I don't know if y'all can actually see the comment section or not, but
Yes.
If you got any questions, feel free to stop us and let us know if you want us to stop and answer your question. But I got a lot of questions for you guys, and I got my chickens behind me, so you may hear them. I just thought it was appropriate to kind of show off my little chicken coop at the same time. So anyway,
we have a couple that like to talk a lot too.
Y'all got any chickens?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
we got chickens.
Yeah. We would be out there, but I don't really want to sit out in the snow right now. What's the temp right now?
Last I checked, it was like 2 or 3 below.
2 or 3.
That's crazy. Well, it's cold here. I just want you to know. And I'm always wearing a hoodie. And if you watch my videos, it probably looks like the same one over and over and over because it is.
My wife always yells at me when I wear the same clothes in 2 different TikToks.
Well, you know what? It doesn't even matter sometimes.
Right.
But anyway, so today we're going to talk about elderberries. I wanted to bring in Popple Creek Tree Farms, ask them a couple questions. And if y'all guys had any questions, let us know. So this is going to be a little different. So first of all, this is Ben and Corey with Popple Creek Farms. And got a question on how did you actually become interested in farming?
Well, so all of our family members, or well, hers anyway. I grew up in the suburbs of Southern California. So all of her family members are farmers.
Okay.
It's appealing. Really, for us, it came because I started. We live like as rural as you can get out in northern Minnesota, and I started putting perennials out. Cherries, apples, blueberries, asparagus. All sorts of different stuff. And one of the things I bought was elderberries from the county tree sale. We went and we bought a bundle of them for, I don't remember, what was it, $25, $35, something like that.
And you didn't know very much about them.
No, absolutely.
Neither of us were like, what are elderberries? We don't know.
It was another berry to me.
Yep.
And then COVID came, and I'm a safety manager by day. And, so I went to work from home because most people did. And so not a lot of people want to play with the safety manager when nobody's working. So I had a lot of time to Google, and I started, just kind of going down a rabbit hole about elderberries. And I was like, well, heck, I'm going to start making some of this stuff because that's kind of, not to go too far into, how much you do or don't trust the government or anything like that. But we knew that elderberries have been used for thousands of years to help people with their immune systems. So we started making it for ourselves. We started giving out to some of our family members, and they're like, this stuff is really good. You gotta make some more of this. And then they let their friends try it, and it, kind of got bigger and bigger. And we just kind of went from there. We ended up with 25 plants in front of my house to buying 35 acres and starting to farm.
So you ended up buying 35 acres to grow elderberries.
Yep.
And so why did you only choose just elderberries? Just because you just felt like that was the niche you wanted to be in, or?
Well, yeah, it's really popular, right? I mean, it's kind of been low key popular for a long time, and it's obviously become very popular in recentivity because of what's going on. But I think people are becoming more in tuned to natural, grow your own food, closer to home, more natural approach to health and wellness. And so we thought we could fill a niche. We might expand and do some different things. I was looking at maybe doing some garlic between new rows or Aronia is another one that kind of fits in that niche. But I kind of want to stay in that niche because I don't know, I got a lot going on with elderberries already.
Okay. All right. If you guys are just joining, make sure you hit the like button. Get this thing out there. I got Popple Creek Farms on here, and we're asking them some questions. If you got any questions, feel free to comment. I know somebody asked where you were, and y'all answered that in Minnesota. So just want to know, how did you actually come up with the name? Because whenever I came up with mine, that was something I cared about a lot. So I'm sure you do too.
So my daughter came up with the name. We have a creek behind our house that's an unnamed creek. It's seasonal. Some years it flows all year. Most years it doesn't. And she's really partial to this creek behind our house. And when we start talking about, what to name this thing and all this stuff, and she's like, let's name it after the creek. I was like, okay, what's the creek's name? And so we looked it up, and there was no name, and she came up with Popple Creek. She wanted to, so if you're ever in our neck of the woods and you're wondering what the creek behind our house is named, it's, we're the only ones that know the name, but.
Okay. That's all right. Yeah. I came up with no, let me take that back. My wife came up with it, first of all.
I love you guys' name so much.
I grew up on a street called Salt Market Street, and that is where we live now. And my mom had 4 acres. And I built right across the street from her. And my wife is the one who actually came up with Salty Acres. So
awesome.
It's just going full circle. And it just pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I know I had some challenges when I got started. I always got told, no, we're not going to be able to do this. No, you can't do that. And so I just wanted to hear kind of what some of the challenges y'all had.
Can I say?
Yeah.
I would say probably our biggest challenge is that he was ready to do this, like full force. I want to do this. And I felt very comfortable where we were at. Like everything was good. I didn't want to take that risk or make that jump. I mean, when you talk about all of the stuff you need to buy to support that kind of hobby and business, hobby turned into business, the acreage, the tractors, all the stuff, I panicked. So I would say probably I was the number one problem that in the beginning, to be honest.
Well, I totally understand that. My wife was the same way.
Yes.
And she's inside right now. She may not be watching. She's trying to keep my kids from screaming and hollering in this interview, which is a majority of the reason why I'm outside. But she was very cautious. She kept saying, no, we can't. And I just kept saying, yeah, we are. And I sold one plant, and then I showed her more people want it. And then it just kept spiraling. And I don't know. It just... you ain't growing if you ain't uncomfortable. And, and so you were uncomfortable.
Yes.
And even this interview makes me uncomfortable, which is why it's all part of growing. It's all part of growing.
You just sometimes you gotta trust your gut, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to make somebody else passionate with your vision until they see it happening. And a lot of times the reaction to change is no. And
that's right.
If you have something and you just can't get it out here, you just gotta do it, and eventually, they'll come in line.
That's right. That's pretty cool. Well, I'm glad to know there's other wives out there that try to be more cautious than we are. But I always look at everything from a worst case scenario whenever I started something, and I'm like, worst case scenario, I'm just going to provide stuff for my family. It'll pay off eventually. That's kind of the way I looked at it. But I actually got into it because of my kids. And I think y'all got 2 kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
Two girls?
Yes.
Well, I got a 2-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy that will eat every berry in sight as long as there is a berry. And that's what got me in it. And started with several plants and slowly got it going. And then had a grocery chain reach out to me and said, "Hey, are you interested in we heard you're growing blackberries now." They don't know how many I had. And they said, "Heard you're growing it. Would you be interested in giving us any?" And I said, "Yeah." And my wife looked at me again and said, "We can't do that." And so basically, I turned it into from like maybe 5 blackberry bushes to we got over 100 right here on our land. And anyway, every hurdle is always, "No, we can't do this." But I always say yes, that I can, because if I don't, I won't try.
Well, that's exactly it.
True.
I've run into those situations where an opportunity presents itself, and then I'll say yes, and she'll look at me and say, "How are we going to do that?" I have no idea. We're going to figure it out. I have no idea right now.
Yeah, it's pretty. It makes me think a little bit different if I push myself, just like being uncomfortable. Randall, thank you for the comment. Love the farm. If you're just joining, hit that like button as many times as you can. We're talking about elderberries today, and we got Popple Creek Farms with us. It's Ben and Corey with us talking about their farm. So they're on 35 acres in Minnesota, if you haven't been around. Just joining us, and they grow elderberries, and they're going to tell you a lot more that they do. So let me ask you this: what was your actual vision when you first started, and where is it now? Because I can promise you, it's probably different.
It's not that deep a story. I knew I wanted to plant elderberries. I found, so it started out. I bought an acre's worth of elderberry cuttings before I had land to plant them on.
Okay.
I knew they were going somewhere. I didn't know where they were going to go. My brother-in-law offered up some land. Wasn't in an ideal location, but you can't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? My neighbor offered up some land. Obviously not. It wasn't also. And then out of the blue, right before spring, some land popped up. I bought it. I closed, right before I needed to start thinking about where to put, seriously, these things got to come out of the refrigerator, because when you buy a cutting, you stick it in the refrigerator, they sit dormant until springtime. And it was like kind of crunch time. I closed, we planted, and that's about as far as the vision was. I knew I wanted to grow elderberries. My first, barrier was actually planting them in some dirt somewhere. Unfortunately, right after I planted them, we went into a drought that lasted all year long, and we lost approximately 70% of our cuttings the first year.
So that was one of the hurdles you had, huh?
Yeah.
So you just wanted to grow stuff, grow elderberries. Have you thought about new ideas going forward? Like, I can do this a little bit different, or
absolutely. There's, I spent an obsessive compulsive amount of time on the internet, talking to people. I joined an elderberry cooperative. So I got to the point to where I had too much information in my head and not enough action. And I got to the point to where I'm just going to do this. And so we did it. I went and bought a Cub Cadet rototiller, and I rototilled 4,000 row feet with 5 teenagers and planted almost 2,000 elderberry cuttings in one day. And
so you started all these. You started all these that you got with cuttings.
Yep. I know I don't want to do it that way ever again.
Yes, I was just about to say it's got to be a slow process.
Yep. No, so then we did some more research, and we bought a tractor after that. Because as you know, everything you do by hand takes longer, and it takes time away from developing other ideas and becoming more efficient and stuff like that.
I got you.
Well, and I think like your vision in the beginning was just like, we'll do syrup for, we'll make syrup for family and friends. And then when that grew, it was like, okay, we're currently buying elderberries and now we want to have our own, we want to get to the point where what we put out as a product is solely from us,
Yeah.
So I think that the envision plus also the cuttings, the elderberry flowers, and all of that to be able to, sell to other people so they can do what they want to do themselves. If they want to plant elderberries, then, we have that available for them to get started on their journey too.
Well, what's funny is when I first went and got my first plants, um, the guy that sold me them said, I got some elderberry too. And my wife looked at me and she says, we need to do elderberry. Like, we need to do, I want to make the syrup, the whole 9 yards. And so when I told her that I had talked to you guys and we were gonna talk on a live, she was like looking all hard on y'all's website and everything. So let me ask you, so where are all your sales coming from? Like TikTok? Is it TikTok?
So right now, I would say I haven't done it percentage wise. So we do a combination. We do a TikTok is the majority. We do vendor craft shows, and then we also have wholesale sales. I think we're in. I've had a bunch of people buy in like little cafes and stuff that I don't think it does the greatest in, but mainly boutiques. We're in a couple of grocery stores, 3 grocery stores, and so I would like to get more wholesale sales, right? That's easiest.
Yeah.
Somebody sells it for you. But TikTok is the majority right now. TikTok is a blessing. It really is.
Yes,
it's a lot of work.
TikTok has been unreal to me.
Yep.
Unreal. And that's an understatement, honestly. It's been a true blessing. I can cry thinking about it because I can tell you the conversation I had with my wife, and she basically said to me that day that my video went viral on strawberries, she looked me in the eyes and said, you got less than a 1% chance of getting a lot of followers. And I posted that video about 8 hours later.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've got 252,000, and I'm just like,
Oh,
wow,
Yep.
And that just let me know how many people are interested. Number one, the average person is interested in growing their own things. And you'll see a lot of the stuff I do is going to be like in my backyard because that relates to so many people.
Yep.
So and I would do a lot of stuff at my mom's house, and when I actually get like my bigger garden stuff. But
I can tell you, I'm putting some strawberries in some gutters this spring.
Well, let me tell you the key to that. It is keep them where they got some sun, but you don't want to have them in full sun. And when you have them on a fence, when that sun goes over them, they're getting shade halfway through the day, and so they've taken the beating off of them after half the day. And so I can't wait to show everybody the process or the progress of them. They took a beating during that cold that we got, so I'm hoping they held up. I didn't cover them. I didn't do nothing. So we'll see how well they did. Anyway, if you're just joining, I got Popple Creek Farms with us. Popple Creek Farms with us, and they plant elderberries. Just make sure you hit that like button as many times as you can to get it out there. But also, I wanted to ask you guys, what are you doing right now to prepare for this year? I know there's snow on the ground, probably where you are.
So right now, we have nothing but cold and snow right now. Think white frozen tundra.
Okay.
Right now, we're planning for spring. This fall, I had a lot of mulch delivered in the form of wood shavings, sawdust, and we have a lot of wild. I don't know if you've ever seen wild rice before, but we have a wild rice processing plant, so we get wild rice hulls, and some of that we'll use as top dressing. Some of that we'll mix with hay and manure to compost out to put on next year. Right now, I'm looking at new varieties. Now is when people south of me quite a bit take elderberry cuttings to start selling. Now is elderberry cutting season. So I'm looking at new varieties that are available that maybe I don't have. We currently have, I think we're at 14 or 15 varieties. I have one in the refrigerator that came from Minnesota. And so those are the ones I'm most interested in, the northern varieties that might fruit and a little earlier, harvested a little earlier. But there's some other varieties that only do well for berries down south.
Yep.
That might make wonderful flowers up here, because that's a whole nother market too. So we're looking to become a repository of, it's kind of virgin territory up here for what does really well with elderberries, because we're kind of at the northern edge of their range. They're
Okay.
native here, but there's not that many of them. So we're looking for ones that'll do well.
I didn't realize how many varieties there were until I was just scrolling through your website.
Well, and it's kind of a misnomer, right? So elderberries, so there's a couple of main categories. There's European elderberry, which is the Nigra. There's American elderberry, which is canadensis. It's Sambucus nigra canadensis. There's a blue one that grows on the West Coast. Those are the main ones. And then there's so much genetic variability. It's kind of like apples. You take an apple, it's going to have 8 different seeds in it, roughly, and that'll make 8 different apple trees. Well, elderberries are the same way, but they have hundreds of little fruits on a cyme, and each one of those seeds, there's 3 to 5 seeds in a fruit. Each one is going to make a different elderberry. So right now, we're kind of in the infant stages of elderberry breeding. So everything somebody's selling or has, and they're calling it a name like Ranch, Wildwood, John's, Pocahontas, or the big ones.
Yep.
Anyway, so those are wild selections that they've taken and they've cloned, meaning they take cutting nodes off so that they're identical plants. There's no real, like Honeycrisp apple. That's
okay.
So.
Okay. Are you doing this full time yet?
No, we're not full time. I'm a safety manager. So I do 2 things full time. I work all day, and then I come home and I package orders and I work on the website. That's probably why the website needs a little attention. Well, she does most of the TikTok material. I help out. And in the summer, on the weekends, we do craft vendor shows. In the summer, it just becomes even more work.
And I do daycare, so out of the house. So I have a daycare in town, so I'm there 10 hours a day. So yeah, we're kind of at this point where we probably need to decide if one of us is going to take that leap and quit that 9-to-5 job to focus solely on this. Because, like you said, you don't grow unless you.
I keep pushing her to reduce her time so she can do a lot of the stuff that can be done. And because come summertime, that's going to take a lot of focus on the farm.
I'm sure. The best thing about growing stuff to me is just getting out here barefooted.
Oh, yeah.
I know it sounds crazy.
No,
but that's
I'm all about the grounding.
I do grounding, and I can tell a difference. And if people don't know what grounding is, they should look it up. They should look it up, because I think it's a real thing. I can tell a difference. My wife will say, "Let's go walk," and I'll go barefooted. I don't care. I just want to get my feet on the ground, and I can tell a difference. But
no, I totally agree with you.
Last 2 things I got for you guys, and we'll hang it up. Appreciate everybody that's joining and stuck around with us the whole time. If you can, like this, we're talking about elderberries with Popple Creek Farms. What's been the most rewarding thing about this?
My kids ask me why we're doing this a lot of times, and for me, it's us working together. I joke that sometimes the whole reason I started this is to force my family to work together on something and to spend time together. Because I have a teenage daughter and an 11-year-old, and so their social lives are starting to blossom. The teenager is too cool for just about anything we can come up with.
I got a 16-year-old. I know all about it.
We have our lives are going in 6 different ways, and this forces us to spend time together, to work together, and so that for me that's the best, is when either we're out on the farm weeding, planting, mulching, whatever, or we're in the commercial kitchen making the syrup. We're all working together, and we have to spend the whole time together. That's the best part for me.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I like it when we're all out in the backyard. Kids are running up and down the play set, and they'll come and say, "Is this a plant?" And then they'll pick a weed out of the ground and say, "I got a plant, Daddy."
Yep.
You know, that stuff is what it's all about. You know, I know probably the end goal for you guys is probably to have something your kids got when it's all said and done.
Yep.
If y'all are anything like me, and that's kind of how I feel.
Well, that's the other side of it too, right? If you know, there's a lot of paths a person can take in life, with college, trade school, skills, whatever. You're maybe on the best scale, you're giving them a business that they can expand, or at the very least, you're giving them another mindset, an entrepreneurial mindset, whether they end up going into the corporate world or not. You're wiring their brain to think, and so
Yep, I agree. Last thing, and we'll go here because I know you got a busy day ahead of you guys. Tell everybody what you sell and everything they can get on your website and where they can find you too.
We sell elderberry syrup, right? So right now we have 2 flavors of elderberry syrup. We have one that's elderberry juice and honey, one that's the same thing, but it's got ginger, cloves, and cinnamon. We also sell dehydrated berries and do-it-yourself kits, which is a small kit that comes with some ginger, clove, and cinnamon. Enough, I think it makes about 2 to 3 bottles, depending on how closely you follow our recipe. But a lot of people buy that stuff because they have their own, and we're totally fine with that. Starting this next year, we'll have cuttings and then plants for sale. We just applied for our nursery certificate, so that's going to be fun. This fall, we hope to have frozen berries, dehydrated American, Sambucus canadensis, elderberries for sale, flowers, probably frozen and dehydrated as well. And then we'll be also working on an elderflower version of the syrup.
Okay, so you sell plants, the syrup, and the whole kit.
Yep. We want to be a full service elderberry stop.
That's good. That's good. Tell them about your website, where they can find you at. Are y'all on Instagram and all that?
So we haven't done Instagram that much.
Currently, we're on Facebook. If you just search Popple Creek Farms, and then TikTok, our link is in bio to our website. So if you follow us here on TikTok, you can just go to our profile, and our link is right there to the website where you can find everything.
Well, that's perfect. That's perfect. I'll let you guys go. Y'all have a good weekend. Y'all stay in contact with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely want to keep this relationship going. And so if I can help you in any way, let me know.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Y'all have a good weekend.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Somewhere.